Hello everyone and welcome to the Cozy Little Brown House. This is Brown House Board Games, where we talk all about all things board games, which is our absolute favorite hobby in this house. For our inaugural YouTube video, I thought I would go back and take a look at all of the games that our family played in the month of August. Watching what we played videos on YouTube is one of my favorite things to do at the start of each month. So it was a natural fit that I would sit down and kind of follow that same format and cover everything that we did this month. So thank you for joining us, and let's get into August. Got my book here, and let's talk about what we played. So first up, we played 30 games in the month of August. We had 41 plays across these 30 games, and we also played 5 games that were new to us last month. So let's go through. We're going to talk first about all of the games that we played as a family. I'm going to give you a quick little synopsis and our thoughts on the game, and then we're going to shift over and talk about all of the games that my husband and I played together, including our new ones and what we thought of those. So first up, the game that had the most plays in the month of August was Point Salad. We taught Point Salad to our 6-year-old, thinking it would be a really great family game for us to play together, and it was. It went over so well. Point Salad is one of our favorite quick weeknight games. My husband and I usually play it at 2-player in 3 rounds, then we total up our score. And we kind of started following the same format with our daughter. It's so simple. You have 2 rows of 6 vegetables total and a row of cards to choose from that represent your scoring condition. So on your turn, you're either taking 2 vegetables or 1 scoring condition card, and at the end of the game, seeing how well you did. It's simple, it's great for game schooling, it's colorful, you can teach it in just a couple of minutes. Highly recommend Point Salad, one of our family favorites. Next up, one of our daughter's favorites was Bugs in the Kitchen. Bugs in the Kitchen is a simple little game where you are rolling the dice, trying to determine which utensil you're able to turn in the board, and the little battery-operated bug tries to work his way to different sections of the game board, almost scoring like a goal. So one of our daughter's favorites. This is a very loud game. It's quick, it's kind of chaotic. It's not always my cup of tea, but she enjoys it. Bugs in the Kitchen is fun. I often see copies at our local thrift stores, so maybe check it out there. We also played a game of Calico. We like to play with our daughter the family variant, which is in the directions. In the family variant of Calico, you are simply removing the objective tiles from your board. So Calico then becomes a sort of pattern and color matching game. So you're just trying to get those patterns to attract the cats, and then you're trying to line up the colors to get your colorful buttons. It's very simple. It's also a great way to kind of bring Calico to non-gamers by taking out those stressful objectives. Calico is one of mine and my husband's favorite games to play together. Bringing it down to this simple level with our daughter has given us another fun way to play it, and it's still just as great when you remove those objective tiles. We also played a game of Catch. Catch is from Peaceable Kingdom, who is known for making their cooperative games geared towards even some of the youngest gamers. They have games that start age 2 and 3. Catch is a game where you are controlling 4 cats who begin in the corners of the board and a mouse who's in the middle of the board, and you're rolling a couple of dice to determine where the cats are moving and where the mouse is moving. The cats are trying to box in and trap the mouse before the mouse escapes with the cheese to one of the edges of the board. This is a simple game. It's good for strategy and decision making. This is one that our daughter has really enjoyed playing. It has a quick play time, so we'll usually play it 2 or 3 times in a row. So that is Catch from Peaceable Kingdom. We also played some Cauldron Quest. This is another Peaceable Kingdom game that we love. When we started introducing games to our daughter 2 years ago at the age of 4, Cauldron Quest was one of the first games that I picked up, and I was so excited to find it at our local Savers. I think I paid $2 for it. But in Cauldron Quest, you have a variety of potions. They're hidden from you around the outside, or we should say ingredients for the potion. Ingredients for the potion outside the perimeter of the circular board, and you are trying to work the ingredients to the center cauldron. But you have certain conditions you have to meet to be able to flip them and see if they're the right conditions. So if you can do this before the wizard puts his hex on all of the potions and you lose the game, then you win the game. So another fairly simple, slightly more strategic, wonderful game to play with young kids. Played Cover Your Assets. Cover Your Assets from Grandpa Beck Games is a card game that hits the table quite a bit in this house. Another very simple game where you are fighting to make the most money among your family members. So you are collecting sets of cards and battling it out by placing them in front of you, trying to cover them up with your next set of cards before someone tries to steal them from you by playing that same item. So Cover Your Assets is another one. It's a quick teach, an easy learn, has a little bit of take that, but it's all kind of in good fun. We have not played with the couple little variants that are inside the box. We just play straight Cover Your Assets with the simple rule set, and it's one we really enjoy. We also taught Dice Miner to our 6-year-old, thinking that she would enjoy kind of choosing the dice off of the mountain. When my husband and I played Dice Miner at Origins, it quickly became a favorite, and we immediately ordered it online from one of the game stores that we often order games from. Dice Miner comes with this cardboard mountain that you assemble, and you fill all the dice in, and on your turn you simply take turns drafting 1 or potentially 2 dice. If you have a beer dice you can roll, and attempting to make sets and meet different scoring conditions to ultimately have the most points at the end of the game. There is some randomness, but there is mitigation measures in this game, and it just really is a lot of fun. When you play 2-player, at the end of each round, you re-roll all the dice you've accumulated, and by the end, you are rolling so many dice to kick off that 3rd round. It's just a really great 15-minute game. On weeknights when we're tired, Dice Miner's been what we grab lately. We also dug out an old favorite of ours from Blue Orange Games, and that is Doodle Quest. Doodle Quest is a game that doesn't get a lot of attention in the board game community, and it really should. This is definitely a hidden gem for families. I love when there is a game that works for kids and is equally as fun for adults, and Doodle Quest kind of hits that mark. So players all receive a transparent sheet of plastic, kind of like the old overhead sheets. I'm kind of dating myself here. And a dry erase marker, an eraser, and a fish stencil. Only some of the cards require a fish stencil. And in front of all players, you put down some sort of challenge you're trying to complete. And you can play 6 cards, or if you just want to play 3, you could do a shorter game. And in the center of the table, you put this objective card, this challenge. They all take place underwater, and you might be trying to trace a path through the seaweed, trying to put your marker over as many fish as possible or starfish as possible without touching the seaweed. So you have to do all of this on your transparent sheet, considering spatial skills and perception. And then to score, you put the main challenge card underneath your transparent sheet and see how you did. So it's really creative. I wish they'd come out with some additional cards to stick in the game, but I highly doubt that's ever coming. But Doodle Quest is a ton of fun. We tracked down our copy on eBay. I got it for like 13 bucks. So this is one that's definitely worth seeking out if you can find it. Draftasaurus. Draftasaurus, we love drafting games in our house, and Draftasaurus has got to be one of the cutest games. You're taking some initial dinosaurs, trying to place them into your dinosaur park according to some different scoring conditions. So dinosaurs that are all the same, or pairs of dinosaurs, or dinosaurs that are all different. So you choose your dinosaur, you place it on your dinosaur board, and you pass. And you just keep doing this, accumulating dinosaurs, and then you score. This is another one. It plays in about 15 minutes. It's great for people who have never done drafting games before. It's cute, it's simple. That is Draftasaurus. We also decided to teach our daughter a game we had picked up at a pre-Origins auction. The game is called Dungeon Raiders, and it's from Phil Walker Harding. I think it's one of his earlier games. And in Dungeon Raiders, you are attempting to work your way through several doors of a dungeon. And you might know what's behind some of these doors before you start making your way through the level. And some of the doors are going to be hidden, so you don't know what's coming up. And simultaneously, everybody is playing a card, which will then determine your fate when you open the door. So you might have a beast to defeat. You might have treasure to go for. It's a very mediocre Phil Walker Harding game. We don't care for this one. Our daughter has enjoyed playing it. This one would be a hard pass for me, and I'd be willing to pass this one on, but our daughter keeps asking to play it. I guess we'll keep it a little bit longer. We had Floriferous, which is a newer game in our collection, which we also ordered after Origins. And we thought this would be another good one to introduce to our daughter this month. She's been showing more interest in the games we're playing, so we're constantly thinking of what games do we like that are simple enough for her to pick up on. And Floriferous is definitely one of those. In Floriferous, you are laying out cards in a garden and going through in turn order based on where you choose to go, kind of like in King Domino. And you're selecting which card you want to add to the tableau in front of you. And as you're choosing cards from the garden, you're trying to think of the different scoring conditions you need to meet. So maybe in this particular game, each purple flower you accumulate will give you points, or each butterfly. You're trying to collect statues from the garden. Some cards have little pebbles on them, and as you take that card, you also get the pebble, which helps you score points at the end of the game. It's a beautiful game, another one that's very simple and easy to learn, but very pleasant to play. So I'm very glad that our daughter has picked up on Floriferous. We like it much better at 3 players than 2 players. We were a little bit disappointed in it when my husband and I started learning it. But the second we introduced it to our daughter, it made it more of a play for us than a pass. We got out one of our old favorites, Ghost Fightin' Treasure Hunters. This game has gotten a lot of plays in our house. Our dice are actually starting to wear out a little bit because we play this one so much. Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters is probably my favorite cooperative game. I'm not a cooperative game person, but in Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters, you are working as children who are entering a haunted house, and you're hoping to escape with all of the treasures that are scattered throughout before the house becomes too haunted. So how do you do this? You roll a dice, you play a card to determine where the next ghost is going to go. Once you accumulate 3 small ghosts, it automatically switched to a larger, red, super scary ghost. And those ghosts are harder to defeat. So if the house becomes overtaken by these bigger, badder, red ghosts, the game ends. But if you can get out with all of your treasure before that happens, you are winners, and this one's a blast. So this is another one we were happy to track down. It's a little bit harder to find now. But there's another Ghostbusters version of this game that's a little bit easier to find, but we love just the original Ghost Fightin' Treasure Hunters. Also played one of our favorite chaotic dice games, which is called Go Nuts. This is a small game right game that we picked up at our local board game cafe. They were unloading a bunch of their old games that I guess weren't getting played anymore. This was on their free table. I saw that it was Game Right, a company we love. I snatched it up and we came home and we've had a lot of fun laughing and playing Go Nuts. So Go Nuts, you're rolling dice that have acorns. automobiles and squirrels on them, and you're trying to accumulate as many acorns as possible. But every time you roll a car, that dice is now off to the side. So if you end up rolling all cars, you're going to bust. If you end up rolling a dice roll that is all squirrels, then you go nuts, and everybody has to start rolling dice as quickly as possible. Everybody else playing rolls dogs. You must stop and total up your acorns, see how many you get, and add those to your current score. So it's silly, it's kind of crazy, you've got dice everywhere. This is a really fun little weeknight game too. Kariba was next. That is a very small box card game from Reiner Knizia where you create a watering hole and play out cards of animals where the larger animal, once you accumulate 3 of those, will scare away the next largest animal. And then you would acquire those cards and put them in your stash, which would turn into points at the end of the game. I first learned about this video from Z Garcia when he did his Hidden Gem series over on the Dice Tower, and it sounded like something our family would like. It's a really great family game, and it's another one that just doesn't get talked about very much. So if you can snag a copy of Kariba, I highly recommend checking it out. We also played, my daughter and I, we finished up our final quest in Kids Chronicles Quest for the Moonstones, which really shot up to be one of our daughter's favorite gaming experiences. She loved sitting down to do these quests, and the combination of using the app, which had a lot of great reading practice for her with the board and the cards and the things that she had to find and scan, it was just the perfect combination of kind of the mystery and the quest, and she just loved figuring things out as we moved through each one of these quests. And she did a great job on her own with this. I helped read some of the sections that had vocabulary she wasn't familiar with or were kind of long. But if your kids are readers, especially if they're even a little bit older than our daughter, they could easily do this one on her own. I mostly sat while she went through it and just provided a little bit of support. I am always excited to see what Lucky Duck has got going on. We think their games are really creative and really fun. I hope they put out so many more kids games, because the 2 that we've tried from them, talking about the other one later, we absolutely love them. They're great. So check out Quest for the Moonstones. It's really, really good. Another small box Reiner Knizia card game. Brian and I picked up Longboard while we were at Origins. Longboard, some people make the comparison with Lost Cities, where you're playing out cards in ascending or descending numerical order. I am in the minority. I do not like the game Lost Cities. I've played it many times on Board Game Arena. I'm terrible at it. First of all, I'm horrible at Lost Cities. But I find Longboard to be a lot more fun. Maybe some of that is the theming of it with the kind of retro surf vibes it has. But it also has scoring objective cards. You're playing out to your tableau in front of you surfboards, which you're trying to shape by playing out 4 or more cards. And the surfboards have 4 different colors, so you're making a surfboard of one color. You're going to score for all of the stickers on your formed or shaped surfboards, and then you're also going to score for the objective cards for the game. So there's a couple different things going on, but again, it's a drafting situation. You're pulling cards from the middle. You can use a couple of your cards, 1 or 2 cards from your collection, to trade and snag a card from another player's little drafting area. But the whole idea is to make these shaped surfboards that score you the most points. This is a fantastic game for game schooling if you have young kids. I think this is a really good one, starting maybe at like age 6 and up. But we've had a lot of fun playing Longboard. Also, we put on retro surf music in the background when we play this one. We also introduced Silver and Gold to our daughter this month. We pulled out Silver and Gold. This is probably my favorite Phil Walker Harding game, but you are basically playing Tetris onto cards in front of you that you can actually write on with a dry erase marker, which is super fun for kids. And you're trying to cover fully the shape on each card so you can score maximum points. And every time you fill in one of your little Tetris shapes onto your card, you could trigger palm tree scoring, coin scoring. You might fill in a red X, which allows you to fill in another box. So you're just trying to continue to fill in cards, take another card, fill that one in, and then score for all of them at the end of the game. Our daughter loves this game, and we were really blown away by how quickly she picked it up, and not just how quickly she picked it up, but how much of a contender she is in this one. She always scores neck and neck with my husband and I. So this has become, I think, a family favorite of ours. Another game from 25th century, we picked up Longboard at Origins. We also picked up Sunny Day Sardines. Sunny Day Sardines is a very easy to learn and play set collection and contract fulfillment game where you're trying to collect cards with sardines on them to trade in to get an order fulfilled from the center of the table. For each order you fulfill at the end of the game, you will get points. Another one, I mean, the directions are written on the cards. You have like a couple cards to look over. You can learn and teach us one in a couple of minutes. It comes in a very cute little sardine tin. Throw it in your purse or pocket, take it with you. Sunny Day Sardines couldn't be simpler, light as a feather game, but it's one of my favorites to get out on a weeknight. It's just quick and easy and fun and a really great game. Back to Phil Walker Harding, we played Super Mega Lucky Box. We had tried to teach our daughter this one last year, and she was not into it. With her love of silver and gold, we decided, let's pull out Super Mega Lucky Box again and see how she feels about it now. And it went over a lot better this time. My husband and I enjoyed playing it more than the first couple of plays we had of it. But we still like silver and gold. If we had to choose between the two of those, I think all three of us are picking silver and gold. But Super Mega Lucky Box basically feels like bingo with dry erase markers where you trigger, just like in silver and gold, the checking off of additional boxes or getting lightning tokens so you can adjust your numbers a little bit to fit them into your board. So it's another great one for number practice and just really good strategic decision making. I don't know, this just doesn't, we just really like silver and gold. This one's fun, but if we had to choose between the two, we're gonna be reaching for silver and gold. And then we got out a couple of our favorite game right games. First up was Trash Pandas. This is probably my husband's favorite game right game. It's a little bit of set collection, a little bit of push your luck. You're stealing cards from one another. You're stealing cards from the trash can. You're stashing your cards for later to score points at the end of the game. You want to try to roll the dice and complete the actions that you roll. But if you roll the same dice more than once, then you're busting. And all you can do is take a card from the top of the deck. You can't take any further actions as shown on the dice. This one has gotten a ton of play. This is another one where all of our components are wearing out. We played this one so much. And then we also got out Dragonwood again. It's been a little bit since we played Dragonwood, but this was one of our daughter's other first games. And the game I credit, if I had to name one, the game I most credit for watching her math skills explode. Because in Dragonwood, you have to consider probability, and then you have to do a lot of addition to play the game. So for kids, it's a great way to sit down and sneak in some math skills without, proclaiming we're having a math lesson. So Dragonwood, you have several different beasts in the forest out before everyone in the middle of the table, and you are acquiring cards from the draw deck, trying to assemble either cards of the same color, which you can turn in and then roll that many dice, or you can collect numbers in a row or same number cards. And each little beast in the forest has a different number requirement that you need to roll in order to defeat them. So It's definitely a little bit more complicated than some of the other Game Right games in terms of how you have to think, but it's a really, really good one. The last family game that we played this month, we snuck it in on the last day of August. My daughter and I got back out another Lucky Duck game, and this is Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy. So using an app, I recommend using your phone, but you are working together to feed colored monsters different objects you have in front of you with your cards. So you're trying to combine colors to match the monster who's awaiting his meal. So if he is a brown monster, you might want to try to feed him brown items, but if you don't have good brown cards, you're then trying to blend your color combos to get as close as possible. And it's just such a simple, silly, fun game. My daughter and I have played this one a lot. I highly recommend checking out Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy. It's such a novelty for kids to incorporate a card game with an app. So this one would be good even for children younger than my daughter, maybe 4 or 5. Lots of fun, Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy. All right, moving in to the games that my husband and I played in the month of August. We have been trying to tackle our new games, but we're also revisiting games that are on our chopping block. So in our dining room right now, we have a small stack of games that we don't know if we're ready to send them on their way to another gamer or if we want to keep them. We do not have a lot of storage space in our house. We just had this built-in added last week, but we don't have a lot of storage space, and we've decided we're just keeping games we love from now on. So we pulled out a game that's on our chopping block, and the game is Dungeon Draft, which is an upper deck game where you are attempting to draft various factions into your hand to give you some actions that you can use to better improve your situation in the game. So you're collecting coins, you're triggering other events, you're fighting monsters. It's a really clever little game that nobody really talks about. I heard about this one on the Dice Tower podcast a while back as kind of being an under the radar game. And because I love drafting games, it immediately caught my attention. And it is a good game, and we like it. We just don't, when we're thinking about what to play, like this is a good like weeknight game. It's like 20 to 30 minutes. If we have 20 to 30 minutes to play a game, this is not one that I'm thinking, oh, let's go play Dungeon Draft. And for that reason, I think it's going to be leaving our collection, but it's still a very fun little drafting game. So that is Dungeon Draft. We also learned a new game that I was really excited about acquiring, and that is Tumbletown, because it combines some of my favorite elements of games. I really love dice, and I really like city building. I really like scoring objectives in games. And Tumbletown, when I first started watching reviews on it and hearing more about it, it immediately got on my radar, and it became kind of like a must-own game for me. I was so excited to play this one. And we got it to the table and read the rules. It was simple enough to understand. And when we finished our first game, we both thought, like it just was missing something for us. We couldn't even put our finger on it. We decided to try it again later that afternoon, and we still got that same vibe. We played better the second game than we did the first game, and that's normally how it is for us. So we felt like we had a better handle on the rules and how to place the buildings in our town. So as you collect these dice, you're trying to set them up in your town in such a way that it scores you points. And it just felt so lackluster to us. It felt extremely fast, and ultimately it just didn't feel like a really fun game for us. So sadly, that one has gone to the pass on pile, and it will be going to a new home once we list games for sale again. Then we played Watergate. And Watergate immediately shot to my top 10, maybe top 5. This might be, Seven Wonders Duel is my all-time favorite two-player game. But I don't play with my husband. We don't play this one. I play on Board Game Arena all the time. It's disgusting how many plays of this I've logged on Board Game Arena. I think Watergate is now my favorite two-player only game. And when we pulled out Watergate to play and we worked through our first gameplay, I played as the reporters, my husband played as Nixon for all of the games we've had so far. We've stayed with the same just so we can kind of get to know the game. Immediately upon finishing, I thought, oh my gosh, this game is incredible. Just the multi-use cards, the decisions you must make. So you are playing as the reporters and Nixon. Nixon is trying to get out of the situation without facing any sort of repercussions, and the reporters are busily trying to make the connections of the evidence and the witnesses and all of the people involved to try to outsmart Nixon and get this case to light. And it is such a crazy race to see who is going to win out in the end. And the cards, you draft cards from your own player deck. You have to decide with each turn, what am I going to do this turn? Am I going to try to move evidence toward me? Am I going to try to shift the momentum? Am I going to try to lock in a witness? But once I do that, I lose my card and I weaken my deck. You do want to play an event that will give you some kind of awesome power on that turn, maybe a couple really good actions. But then again, you're losing that card. So really good decision making. I was blown away by this game. I've been hearing how wonderful it is. I'm so glad we finally got to play it. This is going to be one of my go-to favorites. We also picked up from a local seller, Maul or Encore. We really, really like roll and write games, especially for during the week. And one of our favorite games is Ganshon Clever. That's pretty clever. And this is the same company, same look. Maul is a little simpler than well, it's definitely simpler than Ganshon Clever. It doesn't give us all the combo-tastic feels that Ganshon Clever does. But it's simple, it's pleasant, it's enjoyable. We picked it up for just a few dollars. So we really liked Maul. We also played a game of Fox in the Forest. This is another one that's been on our chopping block. I never was a big fan of trick taking prior to getting into board gaming. I was not here where we live, a lot of people really like euchre. I was never a euchre player or hearts. It just wasn't my jam. But once we got into board gaming, we started playing a little bit more with the trick taking. And since it's almost always my husband and I playing together, we look for two-player trick-taking games. Claim is our favorite. We have Skull King to play, but we haven't learned it yet. And we picked up Fox in the Forest. And we liked it better on subsequent plays. Our first play did not give us a great impression. Subsequent plays, we have started to enjoy it a little bit more. But it's really creative with the cards and some of the different powers the cards have. But if I had to pick between the two-player only trick-taking games we currently own, I would keep Claim and I would say goodbye to Fox in the Forest. We also learned mind management. And mind management, I can see the appeal of this game. It's really incredibly done. The art is amazing. I know a lot of people have proclaimed this to be their favorite hidden movement game now. We got about halfway through the game and just realized that this is not a game for us. So we recognize it's a very well done game. It's not for us. We rarely stop a game midway through, but I was not having any of it the day we played. My brain was fried, and this is definitely a thinky game. So we just put it away and we sent it along to the next gamer. That one has already left our house. And then we also learned Naktaluka, which is a game from Shem Phillips. He gets so much attention for all of his other games. It's a It's a dice game where you are trying to collect different colors of dice to fill up your jars and get points at the end of the game. It's very thinky, especially the first few turns, because as the dice are all spread out in the different sections of the board and you're trying to figure out the different combos you can make, because you have to go in lines across the board. When there's so many dice out at the beginning, it takes a little while to figure out what your best moves are going to be. And that was a little bit of a hang up for me. I really despise analysis paralysis in games. I am more like play to play, not play to win all the time. So sitting and trying to analyze my best move for several minutes is not for me. And I don't love it when my husband does it either. So I liked this one. I didn't love it, but we agreed that we want to continue to play it and see what we think about it. And then lastly, our favorite current roll and write, which is That's Pretty Clever or Gone Shown Clever. And everybody knows the combo awesomeness that is Gone Shown Clever. The decision making in Gone Shown Clever, and when you can get some dice selection on your turn that allows you to mark off so many different sections of your player sheet. I mean, is there a better game experience? I mean, is there a more rewarding game experience than the combos in Gone Shown Clever? I don't know, to be determined. But Gone Shown Clever, one of our favorites, definitely a little bit thinkier of a roll and write. So that is what we played in August. I think probably the standout here was Watergate. We absolutely loved it. And as far as playing with our daughter, I think between Point Salad and Silver and Gold, which have been hitting the table a lot, I think she would say that those were probably two that stuck out for her. So in the comments, I would love to hear what your favorite games were in August or something new that you played. I thank you for being here today and happy gaming.